There is $10,000 of coronavirus relief for independent contractors. And yes, that means Uber and Lyft drivers out there up for grabs, and time is on the line. This is time-sensitive information. Gridwisers, welcome to today's podcast where we're going to talk about all of these programs, the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL, which is the Emergency Injury Disaster Relief Loan Program, and many, many others. $10,000. Brandon, what's up, man?
What's going on, Jay? Sounds like some good important topics right now.
And time-sensitive topics because, full transparency, the additional allocated funds towards Paycheck Protection Program has opened this Monday. So by the time you guys are watching this, we should probably rush this like today.
But we did write a blog post about this and send it to everyone, I don't know, I think last week. So a lot of you already should have applied.
So yeah, so if you have not read the blog post, well, you lost out. So make sure for the future blog post, make sure
check that perks tab
exactly
for blog posts and your email.
And your email. Make sure you subscribe to our mailing list because we don't just spam you with worthless information. Like this is like thousands of dollars potentially in your pockets.
That's good shit. It took us a long time to put together all this information that I think it'll be interesting to like talk about here today, Jay, because I know obviously for like the pod, we have or for the blog post, we did a lot of great research there. We continue to do research for this pod, so really kind of going to be interesting to like kind of be able to talk through some of the nuances and things like that are involved in these programs, which are so many of like not only with this program with like the EID and the PPP, but this is, I don't know if we'll get into like the unemployment stuff, but like unemployment is so complicated from not only a federal level, but then you get into kind of just individual states and how ill prepared everyone is to be able to do unemployment for rideshare drivers and just independent contractors as a whole. So
every state has their own rules and regulations concerning unemployment.
Their own rules, their own regulations, their own maximums, their own time limits, their own systems that have to be pretty much brought up to speed because, I mean, one of the biggest issues is, we can't take, 1099, our online systems don't take 1099 things, and then they don't have many people actually in the offices because, of course, they're not actually in the offices. They're sheltering at home as well. So it's hard to even really call in. But if you can't call in, okay, I can't even, as a rideshare driver, I can't even do it online. Okay, so what are options there? So that's really hard. And some states, like today, I am reading on the Georgia unemployment website, had a driver, I'm going to call out Coach here, you know who you are, he emailed me and basically said, hey, I don't think Georgia's allowing drivers at all or independent contractors at all to apply and receive these unemployment benefits, which is like a big issue. And it looks like, I'm going to dig into it a little bit more, but that looks to be true. So check out, we're continuously updating our unemployment article to be more and more accurate as we get more and more information. So check that out if you're still looking and thinking about, hey, how can I, as a driver, take advantage of these unemployment benefits? Also listen to Gridwise, Jay.
Also, like you said, that I'm pretty sure if you had applied and the state's unemployment systems weren't up to date, you would have been automatically rejected. So for those drivers who like did the right thing, because obviously you want to be very expedient about this was kind of like not anticipated and also counterintuitive. You would think the intuitive thing to do would be to like, get on this shit, apply for unemployment, right? No. Because some state systems were like, please do not apply. We will automatically reject you until we get things up to par. So make sure you check your state's unemployment website. Make sure you check it thoroughly and frequently. And even at the time of watching this, make sure you go and check for yourself to see exactly what the rules are. And to make this easier, we have a blog post, link in the description below, which breaks everything down by state. You click on your state, okay, and it takes you straight to the online resources that you need in the description below. Drivers, check it out. Pause the video. Go do that right now. Okay, I mean, we're not pausing because we got a podcast too.
Okay.
What is the Paycheck Protection Program? You might be asking, Brandon, right?
I am asking.
Okay, so the Paycheck Protection Program essentially is an incentive for small businesses to keep their employees on the payroll. Now, you might be asking, what do you mean by incentivized to keep people on when they're not making any money because they're shut down? Let me tell you, it is a completely forgivable loan that covers if you cover and you use the loan for payroll purposes.
Well, I just want to add, just understand that it is with the PPP program. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but right, it is technically a loan until you get it forgiven. So
Correct.
There is, in theory, some risk that you would have to pay this back, but it is a loan that, in theory, you should be able to get forgiven pretty easily.
In order to get it forgiven, you must apply on a separate application specifically for loan forgiveness for that PPP. It is 100% confirmed open for independent contractors, drivers. What has Uber and Lyft been shoving down your throats for the past 3-4 years? You are not an employee, you're an independent contractor. You are the sole owner of your business, and now this completely applies to you. You are eligible to apply for PPP. The first round of appropriations under the CARE Act, a little over 3 weeks ago, ran out, dried up within weeks, in like 10 days actually, less than 2 weeks. The new round of appropriation just passed last week. Okay, Friday it passed. This Monday, April 27th, applications resumed for Paycheck Protection Program. Links in the description below to the blog, as well as to instructions and direct links to the SBA.gov site where the PPP lives. Paycheck Protection Program for rideshare drivers, Brandon, is essentially you taking all of your 2019 rideshare earnings on whatever platform. Hell, if you drive for like 12 platforms, take all of those that you've earned in 2019, anything that you did as a gig worker, take 2019 earnings, divide it by 12, multiply it by 2.5. That is the maximum amount of paycheck protection loans you are eligible to and qualified to receive. So if you're a driver and you made like net, I'm talking like what, 50, 60K, divide that by 12, multiply by 2.5. That is thousands of dollars that you need to apply for. That is up for grabs. And these things dry up quickly. Last one dried up in 10 days. This one, even less funding. We're already 2-3 days in by the time you listen to this. So make sure you get on top of that right now. Pause the podcast, click the links, and do it. Paycheck Protection Program, again, it is a loan that is forgivable, but only under certain circumstances. That is, if you cover your paycheck and your utilities and rent / mortgage payments. So as a sole proprietor, as an independent contractor, that's exactly what you can use it for. You can use it for your rent in your apartment. You can use it for your wages, which is what you pay out to yourself as an independent contractor with your Uber, Lyft, Instacart, Grubhub, whatever earnings, right? So make sure you guys do that.
Do you know, so Jay, since it is a loan, do you know what the, if for whatever crazy reason you weren't able to get the loan forgiven, do you know what the interest rate is on?
Interest rate is
on the loan?
1% on the Paycheck Protection Loan. So it is
1% APR.
It is very low because, again, this is supposed to be something that helps the American public through essentially what is an unprecedented natural disaster.
Right. Even honestly, I mean, that's such an insanely good interest rate that even if like you didn't need it, you should, and it had to be a loan, like it would probably be a good idea because like 1% is like dead low.
Also, the first, I believe, 6 months is deferred, which means you don't have to pay anything, like no minimum payment and no interest accrued. And it's a 2-year payback period. So you have plenty of time to pay back at 1%
Right.
APR. So either way, if you don't get it forgiven, it's a no-brainer. Apply for it.
Right. But
And
do understand it's technically a loan.
Well, let me stir the pot a little bit. So the reason why this shit is drying up so quick, Brandon, all right, and I want drivers to be fired up for this, is because bullshit chains, all right, that aren't small businesses, like Ruth Christie's Steakhouse, Shake Shack, mother frickin' Shake Shack, okay, they collected tens of millions of dollars in this program. Actually, $10 million because it's PPP. Maximum is $10 million per small business because of a loophole. If you have one location that's under, if each of your locations, right, is under 500 employees, you can qualify to apply for the PPP program, up to $10 million on your payroll. How they do this is because they have thousands of locations, right? Overall, they may have tens of thousands of employees, but each location is under 500 employees. So I'm blasting them. They shouldn't even have applied for this. Although they've returned the money, here's the issue. They took the money at first. They wasted time. $10 million that could be tens of thousands of rideshare drivers who could have gotten their money that haven't gotten their money because they went first and they collected it, immorally collected it, and took it away from the drivers. And now they're returning it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, honestly, it's like that's when you have a bill that has been as rushed as, like, obviously, with good reason, as rushed as, like, the CARES Act is, like, you're gonna have, like, those, like, loopholes. Like, you're just gonna fucking have them. And, like, companies are gonna take advantage of as many loopholes as they possibly can. They're just gonna fucking grab that money until they get in trouble.
I've never had Shake Shack.
Shake Shack is fire.
I've always wanted to have Shake Shack.
It is fire.
And now I cannot have Shake Shack ever because I do not support it. And it's like really bittersweet. It's like it's all hype and stuff. I really want to taste it, but then again, they do shit like this.
I tell you, it's not like it's not like the best burger I've ever had.
So you're telling me I should steal from Shake Shack?
I mean, then you risk going to jail, I would assume. So you can make that decision. It's good. It's definitely like the best like fast casual or like fast food burger I've had for sure. So
have you had what have you had In-N-Out burger?
Yeah, In-N-Out burger is hella overrated. Sorry, everyone that's in California. It's overrated.
Have you had White Castle?
Of course. What are you talking about? White Castle isn't even good.
I've never had either of those. I'm pretty closeted and caved in with my my fast food joints here. Need to explore more.
You can explore more fast food. Have you had In-N-Out?
I've not had In-N-Out, and I really want to.
It's incredibly overrated. It's just a burger.
Okay, well, that sucks, dude. Way to rain on my In-N-Out hype here.
I mean, give it a shot, you know.
I don't think I want to anymore.
But don't expect. I think like a lot of it is just like you expect too much. It's just a burger.
That's true. All right, moving on, drivers. There's another program out there, Brandon, that you might be wondering. And it's not PPP, except it's different. It's EID.
EID. Was this in the CARES Act as well?
Yes, sir. Economic Injury Disaster Program. Now, what this is it's a grant that you can apply for that is forgivable, and it's up to $10,000. If you apply for this and you get a PPP loan that we just mentioned, the PPP loan portion is subtracted from this grant, so you can't double dip.
So it's one or the other.
You can apply for both, but if you get granted PPP, they automatically subtract that amount from your grant.
Gotcha.
So it's automatically built in that you can't double dip, but you must apply separately for both.
Okay.
So another thing about EID that's important to know, Brandon, is that this money can come to you as quickly as within a few days of you applying for the loan. The one thing that is not so good about this is you actually don't know how much you're going to get. So you apply for it, and the government determines based off of what you submit is how much you get. So this is completely up in the air. You have no idea. Although on the interwebs, I have researched on social media that some drivers are getting a flat out $1,000.
$1,000. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, that's $1,000 in your pocket against a grant. So if you get it's a grant, you don't have to pay back a grant. It's basically saying like here's free money. And if you apply for the PPP, that'll be subtracted from that.
So let's see. All right. So what do we have here? We have the EID, which it seems like some drivers are getting $1,000. We have the PPP loan, which can be 2.5x your monthly earnings. Which let's say a driver makes about $4K a month, so they get up to what is that like 48. Let's just do 4,000 a month. So that could be 10,000 technically for the
almost,
PPP.
Yeah, almost. If you make like 5,000 a month, that's like $15,000 for you. And that is up to $10 million. So that's a one-time loan. again, remember, that is a loan, so you may have to pay it back. But if you use that loan for purposes of payroll, for purposes of utilities, mortgages, rent, for your business, and if you're a sole proprietor and you're an independent contractor, your business is operated. I mean, I'm using it. If I apply for it, I'm using it for rent. So if you use it for those purposes, then the loan is completely forgiven. If it is not forgiven, you have to pay 1% interest APR on it, which is nothing. It's literally free money at that point. What's 1% of $15,000? You might ask, that's $150 in interest a year, which is like $15 a month, not even, in interest. Also, there is a 6-month deferment program where you don't accrue interest and you don't have to pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the loan is in a period of 2 years. So plenty of time to pay it back, guys.
Yeah. It's a good program. You add that along with the stimulus checks. You add that along with the state unemployment, along with like the federal unemployment. There's actually a really good amount of safety net here.
Yo, drivers, make sure there's many other minutia and other detailed things that are like bank specific, lender specific. If you have car payments, you have rent, even apartment landlords, right? If you have any kind of accounts with big banking institutions, they all each have their own individual coronavirus relief policies in place, okay? So make sure you check out, hell, even your phone bill, AT&T, Verizon. Call them, research them, go to their websites and figure out what kind of things you can do to either skip payments, skip interests, or defer payments. All of this is super critical, and you must take advantage of all of this. In addition to what we just mentioned, which is PPP, EID, as well as state and federal unemployment.
Yes, sir.
Yo, once again, this is Jay.
And Brandon.
And we'll see you on the next podcast.